Hello. Before I start my course, I just want to introduce myself to all of you. Hello, my name is Rafael. As I said before, I'm a political science major at Pasadena City College. I study ilmu politik. I write opinion articles about social issues, media, and history on Medium. That's a website online. I don't know if any of you guys have read Medium. I like to organize events for communities in Jakarta and California. I've organized TEDx Pasar Baru, TEDx for my university. I've organized Model UN conferences. And just so you have a sense of where I'm coming from, English is my first language. I'm not so good at Indonesian, but I'm learning. We're all learning here. We're all learning language here. So I guess we're in the same boat. And right, let's jump into it. Before I go into some strategies to try and help everybody improve their vocabulary, I want to ask the question: why is it useful to have a wide English vocabulary in the first place? Why should we have to learn all of these different words in English? There are several reasons why. Firstly, vocabulary. These are just all the words that are used in English. Without vocabulary, it's like you don't have the ingredients that you need to make a meal, to cook a meal. By improving your vocabulary, you're able to communicate with English speakers. Almost 1.35 billion people in the world speak English today. That's 17% of all human beings alive. So that once you improve your vocabulary, you can speak to all of those people. Once you improve your English vocabulary, you can understand all kinds of new books, movies, news articles, social media posts, etc. In fact, there are 5.5 million English books in the world, and there are so many great sources of information that are in English that will be opened up to you once you learn. And finally, and I think this is the reason why I love English personally, is personal enjoyment and satisfaction. English has a very rich and subtle vocabulary. What I mean by that is it has a lot of different words, sometimes even for the same thing. Subtle means they have lots of small differences that are sometimes difficult to notice. So we have English has a lot of different words for lots of different things. And it even has many different words to describe the same thing. And those are called synonyms. Of course, Indonesian also has synonyms, but there tend to be more synonyms in the English vocabulary than the Indonesian vocabulary. Think of it like this. Think of Indonesian food. Indonesian food is also very rich and subtle. There are lots of different flavors in Indonesian food. You have all sorts of different Indonesian dishes. You have gado-gado, nasi goreng, nasi padang, sop sadara, ayam goreng Sulawesi, all sorts of delicious foods. And even when you take just a single dish, say you take nasi goreng, you don't just have one version of nasi goreng. You have nasi goreng pete, nasi goreng gila, nasi goreng kambing. So that's an example of what synonyms in English are like. So even though they describe their words that mean the same thing, there are small differences that make them different and unique. To show you what I mean, let's play a game together. So everybody where you are, try and think of as many synonyms for the word happy as you can. So take a piece of paper, or if you don't want to, it's fine, just use your head. Try and think of as many synonyms for the word happy as you can think of. Synonyms, again, are words that mean exactly or almost exactly the same thing. So for example, take sad, take the word sad. The word sad and depressed mean the same thing, but they're slightly different in a way, which I'll explain. But let's try and think of as many synonyms for the word happy as we can. Write them down. You can also put them in the chat down below if you want. Tell everybody. And we'll do it for 1 minute. Just feel free to include them in the chat below. Excited, joyful, glad. That's good. Okay, so that's 1 minute. There seems to be a problem with my. Okay, cheerful, joyful, excited, pleased, delightful, cheerful. That's good. These are good words. Okay, so let's move on. How many of you got one of these 3 words in your lists? Pleased, thrilled, merry. Did any of you get those words? If you did, raise your hand, please, or mention it in the chat. Okay, so not many of you, but that's good. Some of you mentioned vocabulary words in the chat. I want to see who can. Let's try and see if we can match these words, pleased, thrilled, and merry, to the right situation in these sentences. So starting with the first one, your professor is introducing you to a potential employer for the first time. In that situation, which synonym for happy would you use? Pleased, thrilled, or merry? I am blank to meet you. Or which would you use? Please mention it in the chat, or you can just speak it out loud, actually, if you want.
I think it's I'm pleased to meet you.
Yes, you're right, Valerie. Wow, so smart. Lots of smart people in this chat. So yes, you're right. I am pleased to meet you. So what about the second situation? Imagine you've won a prestigious engineering award and you're about to give an acceptance speech. Of the remaining 2, which would you use? I am blank and honored to receive this award. Would you use thrilled or merry, do you think? Anyone have any idea? Okay,
maybe the second is thrilled.
Thrilled. Yes, you're right. Exactly. Perfect. I am thrilled and honored to receive this award. And then, of course, the last one would be if you're sitting down to a delicious meal with your closest friends, you would say, I'm feeling merry tonight. So the point of that is, even though those words all mean the same thing, they don't mean exactly the same thing. So pleased, thrilled, and merry, they all mean happy, but they mean happy in different ways. So when you say you're pleased, it's a more neutral kind of happiness. It's less intense. Whereas when you say I am thrilled, it's a very intense feeling of excitement, extreme joy. When you say you're merry, it's more about being cheerful, being happy to be around your friends. So you see, different synonyms have different uses for different situations, and that's the good thing about English is you can use. There's so many different words for very precise, for very specific situations, and that's one very good reason why you should study it. Grow your vocabulary. One second, everyone. Sorry about that. My computer is acting up a little bit. Okay. So now that we know why we should learn, why we should grow our vocabulary, how do you grow your vocabulary? I'm based on my experiences and talking with other people who want to grow their vocabulary. Here are some tips and tricks that I can give you to actually do something about it. So these are some of the main problems that people have when they try and grow their vocabulary. Some people don't know what the right methods and tools are. So what kinds of tools can you access to improve your vocabulary? Some people have busy schedules. You're all engineering students. I think are most of you engineering students, Valerie? Or
yes,
not everyone?
we are
all okay,
engineering
all of
students.
You. There you go. Very busy. I know. No time to do anything. So yeah, I know you all have busy schedules, a lack of exposure to English. If most of the people around you speak mainly Indonesian, it's hard to practice. And also, it can be hard to remember the right words or to use them correctly. So I know that sometimes when I'm trying to practice my Indonesian, I don't remember the right words. So I say the wrong thing. And so I know it's a bit embarrassing, but then here are some tips and tricks to help you fix that. So using the right tools and resources. Let me introduce you to your two best friends, the dictionary and the thesaurus. Those two will be your best friends when improving your vocabulary. So that would be in Indonesian, kamus and thesaurus, right? Yeah. So here are some of my recommendations for very good English dictionaries and resources that you can access online. So you have Merriam-Webster, you have Oxford English Dictionary, you have dictionary.com if you use your phone, and then you have something called Ludwig.guru, which I'll explain later. Here, and so this is what Merriam-Webster dictionary looks like on the internet. And believe me, this is very useful, guys. So here you can see that it has definitions. It'll tell you what the word means, what the new word means. So this dictionaries, you all know what a dictionary is. It's a book that you go to find the meaning of a word. So Merriam-Webster is very good because you don't just get the definitions of the word, but you also get the way the word can be used in a sentence, and also synonyms and antonyms of the word. So words that mean the same thing and words that mean the opposite thing. And you can access it here. You can just scroll, you can look up any word you want and then scroll down and you'll get example sentences of how to use the word. So for example, this word felicity, it means happiness. And you can see they have sentences that explain how to use the word. Something that causes happiness, the small felicities and absurdities of real life manage to peek through the gloom. There you see how the word felicity can be used in a sentence. And they give you way more, they give you a lot more sentences if you scroll down. And this is a thesaurus. The thesaurus is a book that gives you synonyms and antonyms of a word. So here you get felicity, but you can use, instead of felicity, you can use the word joy, blissfulness, happiness, bliss, etc. So, and you can find the opposite of the word happiness. So say depression, sadness. And this is a very, very, very good resource that you guys can use, Ludwig.guru. And this is a website that you can use to test how a word can be used in a sentence. So for example, say you want to use the word challenges. You just look up challenges in the search bar here, and then it'll give you all kinds of different sentences that use that word. And if you want to test if you've used a word correctly, you can type in the sentence into the search bar, and then it'll tell you whether the AI on the website will tell you whether or not the sentence is grammatically correct or has been used correctly. So that's very useful. It'll also compare your sentence with other sentences from websites like English newspapers, English databases, and whatever. So you can use this website to compare your sentences and phrases to professional ones. So you can use these features to grow your vocabulary. As I mentioned, the example sentences, synonyms, antonyms, you have grammar guides, you have a pronunciation guide, so it tells you how to pronounce the word correctly, and you have words of the day. So if you have a dictionary on your phone, you can set it to give you a notification every day about the word of the day. Let me look on my phone and see what's the word of the day on dictionary.com. See? You have you have a word, macabre. That's the word of the day for today, macabre. It means horrible. Yeah, so using that feature using that feature on your phone will help you to. It doesn't take much time out of your day. So say you're on the toilet, or you're at the bus, or you're in the middle of your classes. No, I mean in between your classes, and you have some spare time. Just take your phone out, and then you can look at the dictionary and see what the word of the day is. You can learn that word, and you can take that word. You can learn the definition of that word, and try and use it throughout the day. Here are some learning strategies that will help you to grow your vocabulary in the long term. So when I was a high school student, secondary school. So when I was in SMP, I like to keep a notebook in my pocket. And then whenever I heard or read a word that I didn't know, I would write it down, and then I would keep it for later. When I got home, I would look up those words in the dictionary. And that was how I learned new words. So you don't have to look them up right away. So all you have to do is note them down, and then at the end of the day, you can look them up and then memorize them. Whenever you can, take the new words that you've learned and then use them when you're talking to a friend, maybe a professor, your parents, people on the internet, whatever, and try and teach that word to somebody else. So say I learned a new word like felicity, and I have a younger sister. I can teach the word felicity to my younger sister. And by teaching her, I can understand the word and remember it more clearly. Another thing that you can do is to read English short stories and newspaper articles. Later on in the Q&A, you can ask me for recommendations for short stories. They're very short, so you can read them in like 10 minutes, 20 minutes. But when you read, you come across new words, and you learn how those words are used. So you can improve your vocabulary naturally. Reading newspaper articles online is also a good way. You can go to websites like the New York Times, The Guardian, CNN, whatever news websites you can access on the internet. Read articles about the news, so you get informed and you learn new vocabulary words at the same time. A fourth thing I would recommend is to talk to English speakers in English. So there are some special websites that you can use for these. Language websites. You can use Omegle, I guess, if you like that sort of thing. You can join Discord servers. I know there are plenty of Discord servers for any community that you're a part of, maybe engineering communities where you can talk to English speakers from around the world. And the best way to learn a language is to use a language. So when you speak to these English speakers, you get to use the language and also to learn it from somebody who speaks it naturally. And finally, use memory tricks to remember unfamiliar words. So, for example, one memory trick that you can use is called associative learning. And what that is you learn a word by connecting it with something else that's easy to remember. So, for example, the word Felicity. My mom's name is Felicia, and my mom is always happy. So Felicia, I associate Felicia with happiness, and the word felicity means happiness. So I associate the word felicity with my mom, Felicia, and I associate my mom with the word happiness. So I'm able to remember the word felicity means happiness. That's what I mean. And you can do this with lots of different words. Another memory trick that you can use is studies have shown that when you're trying to learn a new word and you hold the object whose word you're learning in your hand, you're more likely to remember the word. So, for example, if I have a ball, and then I hold it in my hand and I try and remember the word ball, I'm more likely to remember that. So maybe next time you go out into the world and you come across something unfamiliar, you can learn the English word for that thing, and you'll be more likely to remember it because you're touching the object or you're right in front of the object. So the point is to interact with the things that you're learning the words for. And those kinds of memory tricks will really help you remember the words that you're trying to learn in the long term. Right, and I didn't expect my PowerPoint to be that short. I thought it would last for longer. But here are the here's the question and answer session. So if anybody has any questions they'd like to ask me about vocabulary tricks or maybe a specific word or those short stories and newspaper articles I mentioned earlier, please feel free.
So, excuse me, I have a question.
Please.
Okay, so in your learning strategies, you only mentioned like some strategies, but why is there no like watching English shows? Is it does it have different effect for our English studies or no? And is reading is better than watching? Yeah, I think that's the question.
Oh, that's a very good question. Thank you. What's your name? Valerie? Was it? Right. Yeah, that's a good question. There's a difference between reading and watching. I'm not a psychologist, so I can't say exactly what the difference is, but I suppose you'll take away different things. You'll learn different things from different strategies. So if you read short stories and newspaper articles, I think you'll have a better visual memory of that word. Whereas when you hear a word in a TV show or when you're talking to somebody else, you'll remember the sound of that word. So I think you can do both. I would say watch English TV shows, talk to English speakers, but also read English stories and articles. I think both will help you to learn and remember new English words. Thank you, Valerie. That's a good question.
Maybe who still want to ask question, please raise your hand.
Please, if you want to mention it in the chat also, that's okay. Oh, I would like to know the recommendations for short stories in English. Definitely. I'd love to give some recommendations. So there. Okay, so let me just get my list out. So there's one very good short story called "Bears Discover Fire" by Terry Bisson. Here, I've posted it in the chat. So this story is about bears in America who learn to create fires, and they have campfires, and the story is about this man and his son, and they're very curious about what the bears are doing, so they go out and they sit down with the bears. It's a simple and touching story. So please read it. There's also let me put the Lottery by Shirley Jackson. This one is it isn't horror, but it's sort of it's a bit horror, yeah, actually. but it's a very interesting story, and it's simple, but it's very suspenseful, and you'll learn plenty of new words through that story. And maybe I'll give you one more. One second. Oh, sure, I'll give you that. And this is a science fiction short story. It's called Nightfall by Isaac Asimov. This one is a bit longer, but it's also very interesting for those of you who like sci-fi, and you'll learn lots of new words from it. So yeah, these are 3 short story recommendations that I hope you'll enjoy. If you want more, you can also message me. Maybe Valerie can give my email or whatever to everyone. If anyone has any other questions, I'd love to answer them.
I have a question.
Sure.
Maybe for Rafael, how difficult you is it to learn English language?
Thank you for that question. It's quite hard. It's quite hard, but it's not impossible. And if you're committed and you use some of the strategies that I gave today, you'll get there for sure. And never be discouraged or feel embarrassed or whatever if you don't speak if you don't get it right, don't get it perfect, because I know um, my Indonesian is not that great either, but I still try and use it when I can. So even though I get it, I make lots of mistakes, So don't be discouraged. You can do it.
Maybe for participant, any question from all?
Do you hear my voice? Sofian?
Ya Kak. Yes.
Terdengar suara aku?
Ya Kak.
Okay, thank you. Hi, Rafael. Sorry, it's quite noisy here. I want to ask about measurement. Do you have any measurement progress that you have to track your progress for growing vocabulary? Because sometimes when we are learning new vocabulary and without any measurement, we sometimes lose track, we remember it one day, but the someday we forgetting about it. So I want to ask about any measurement progress that you usually use to track your progress in growing vocabulary. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you for your question. That's a good question. Well, I don't have any, say, worksheets or whatever personally, but you can definitely set up your own, measurement system to see your success throughout, say, over several days, over several weeks or months. My mother, for my mother, her English isn't her first language. She speaks the Makassar dialect. That's her first language. But then she learned English in college and university. No, actually, she's an UNHAS alumni as well. There you go. But then, so when she was at UNHAS, she studied English, and for every week she would try and remember 10 English words, 10 new words in English every week, and her English is quite good at this point. She can communicate properly. She understands lots of words. So I would say, if you want, you can study 10 words. You can practice 10 English words per week. Maybe at the end of the month, you can test yourself and see, how many of these words do I actually remember? And then throughout the month, you can teach the words. Do you have a younger brother or sister, or maybe an older brother or sister? I mean, I'm sure you have friends. So if you can talk to your friends and then teach these new English words to your friends. So yeah, 10 words per week. Check your progress at the end of the month, and if you get all of the words right by yourself, I'm goreng Sulawesi. Yeah, as a treat. So there you go.
Thank you, Rafael.
No problem.
Any other question from participant?
I'd love to answer any questions you have. Just say them out loud or put them in the chat. You know, or if you want, you can email me at any time. Valerie can give out my email. Or I
Maybe
can type it into it.
maybe no more question from all participants. Maybe we can close the question and answer session.
Sure. Okay. Great.
Okay, thank you for Rafael and everyone for asking. What I can conclude from our course today is English is very important nowadays. Many books, articles, movie are in English, and 17% of people speak English at the moment. Each word has many synonyms, such as happy, which has many synonyms, such as delightful, cheerful, and many more. Three, there are many ways if you want to learn English, especially vocabulary. You can look at dictionaries or websites like ludwig.guru. You can also go through word of the day, example sentence, and grammar guides. That's all I can conclude. More or less, I apologize. And before that, I would like to thank you for Rafael for taking the time to teach us all about vocabulary. Before I end today's course, there is a certificate submission from the President. Welcome, period 2023-2024.
Okay, hello Rafael. Actually, I'm the president of Welcome 09 SMFTUH. So basically, Welcome 09 is the acronym of World Wide Language Community of Engineering 09, and Welcome 09 is the specialist group under Senat Mahasiswa Fakultas Teknik, and we usually do some of course not only in English but also in Japanese, German, Chinese, and English. We are very delightful to bring you here, and we are very thankful for Valerie because Valerie, you are here with us today. So for today, maybe we can take some photos. And this is a certificate as a form to our gratitude. You here taught us about vocabulary, growing vocabulary. I hope there is any participants. If we are talking in with Rafael, we can growing our vocabulary. We can learn a lot of things in this week course. So maybe, Fian, as moderator, can you help us to take some photos?
Yes, yes.
Yes. White. Okay. Can you come to Halo, Fian?
Ya, Kak?
Terdengar suara, tolong bantu screenshot ya, Fian.
Oh,
Rafael, okay. We took some photos. Can you show some photos, Rafael?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's take photos.
Let's go, Fian.
ya, Kak. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Rafael, can you please flip your hands from this to this?
Oh,
Our side.
okay, sure. Like
Flip,
this?
yes. Let's
Okay.
go, Fian. 1, 2.
Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Wait.
Okay.
Once again.
Okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Rafael. But before our end, our first, can we take some photos with another participants?
Sure.
Guys, please on cam. Yang bisa on cam tolong on cam, guys. Right.
Mungkin teman-teman yang lain bisa on cam dulu untuk pengambilan sesi foto.
Let's go the free. Tere, Alder. Anyone else? Okay. Yeah, thanks yours. How the date? How Alder? How Fajrin? Okay. Pintan.
No problem.
Then time is yours. Pian sudah bisa dimulai deh kalau mau presentasi.
Ya Kak. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Once again. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Can you please do our sign, welcome sign? So this flip. Alder, let's go. Yeah, flip. Yeah.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Rafael. Sofian sudah bisa ditutup.
Makasih banyak semua.
Ya Kak, thank you Kak.
Thank you, Rafael.
Thank you.
Hope we can still connect each other. And Valerie, thank you. Because Valerie, we can have
Yeah.
Rafael today.
For sure. Thank you, Valerie.
Yes, thank you, Kak Rafael.
Thank you, Pian, as moderator. Thank you, guys.
Ya Kak, thank you guys.
And thank
Oh,
you,
is that the
Rafael.
end?
Once again, thank you.
Is that the end already?
Yeah.
Oh, is that the end? Do you need me
Yes.
to do? Oh, okay, all right.
Thank
Okay,
you,
well,
Rafael.
Thank you so
We
much.
can tag you on Instagram.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay. Valerie knows my Instagram account.
Yes. Welcome is already tag you.
Sorry?
Welcome already tag you. You can check your Instagram.
Oh, okay, cool.
Our
Okay.
live report. Okay. Thank you,
Great.
Rafael. Thank you, Valerie.
Thank you so much.
Pian. And thank you all participants for today with us. Bye.
Bye. Thank you all.
Bye.